Many people think being smart means feeling like the most confident person in the room. In reality, high intelligence often feels like a constant, quiet doubt about your own value. Instead of absolute certainty, you might struggle with a nagging sense of uncertainty. 1. You consistently underestimate your own skills and your natural abilities. Cognitive psychology identifies this pattern as the Dunning-Kruger effect. This effect suggests that experts often assume their knowledge is common to everyone. Because a task feels simple to you, you assume it is easy for everyone. You don't realize your brain is processing complex data much faster than others. Think about a time you solved a massive problem at work or school. You probably brushed it off as nothing more than basic common sense. You feel genuinely surprised when your peers struggle to reach the same conclusion. This creates a gap where you feel ordinary despite producing exceptional results. The hidden cost of this trait is a persistent sense of imposter syndrome. You feel like a fraud because you don't see your talent as special. You worry that everyone will eventually find out you are just getting lucky. You might find yourself overworking just to prove you deserve to be there. You often feel like your biggest achievement were just happy accidents. It is hard to trust your success when you cannot see your own progress. This blindness to your skill is actually a sign of high cognitive functioning. Understanding this pattern is the first step toward reclaiming your own value. But this internal doubt is only the beginning of how your mind works differently. You might find yourself noticing subtle things in a room that other people seem to miss. 2. You are hyper-aware of every tiny social shift and emotional change happening around you. Cognitive psychology calls this high emotional intelligence, or an advanced level of cognitive empathy. It means your brain is designed to process social data automatically and without much effort. This isn't a conscious choice you make to be nosy or judgmental toward others. Instead, your nervous system is simply tuned to a much higher frequency of human interaction. Your mind constantly scans for microexpressions, which are the fleeting movements that reveal true feelings. While most people only hear the literal words being spoken, you hear the hidden melody. You catch the invisible tightening of a jaw or a very subtle shift in vocal pitch. Imagine walking into a bright room where everyone is laughing and acting perfectly normal. Everything looks fine on the surface, but you immediately feel a heavy sense of tension. You can tell that a difficult conversation just ended, even if no one says anything. This ability gives you a massive advantage in understanding the deeper reality of any situation. You are rarely fooled by fake personas or the thin veil of superficial social politeness. However, this heightened awareness comes with a taxing cost that researchers call social exhaustion. Because you are always reading the room, your brain never truly gets the chance to relax. You aren't just enjoying a casual meal or a party like everyone else in the group. You are subconsciously analyzing the emotional state and hidden motives of every single person there. It feels like having dozens of different browser tabs open in your mind at all times. Every shift in posture or tone is a new notification that demands your limited mental energy. If you often feel completely drained after even small social gatherings, this trait is the reason. You aren't being antisocial or shy. You are just processing far more information than average. You might find yourself withdrawing from crowds just to find a moment of true mental quiet. This intense hypervigilance can actually make it quite hard to focus on the actual conversation. You are so busy tracking the how of the interaction that the what gets lost. It turns a simple hangout into a high-stakes investigation of human behavior and secret intent. You might feel like an outsider because you see the truth that others are ignoring. This social burden is heavy, but it is a sign of a deeply perceptive mind. Psychology suggests that this trait often develops as a protective mechanism during early childhood. You learn to read the room perfectly to ensure your own safety or social belonging. The cost is a lifelong struggle with sensory overload and a need for frequent isolation. Take a moment to realize that your fatigue isn't a weakness, but a byproduct of intelligence. High intelligence is often portrayed as a smooth path to quick answers. In reality, it often creates a deep friction between you and the world. 3. You find it incredibly hard to give simple answers to basic questions. For you, a question is rarely just a question. It is an invitation to explore every possible outcome and variable. Others often see a straight line between a problem and a solution. Your brain sees a complex and branching map instead. This happens because your mind pulls up a vast web of variables. You are naturally considering every potential what-if scenario at once. Psychology calls this trait a high tolerance for ambiguity. It means you are comfortable with truths that have many layers. You realize that most things in life are not black or white. Because you see these nuances, a simple yes or no feels like a lie. You feel an internal pressure to mention every exception first. Imagine a colleague asks if a project will be ready by Friday. Most people look at the date and give a quick confirmation. Your brain begins calculating market shifts and potential technical bugs. You consider resource limits and unforeseen delays immediately. You end up giving a long breakdown of every moving part. The other person was just looking for a simple confirmation. This thoroughness carries a heavy social cost in a fast world. Linear thinkers may start to view you as someone who is indecisive. They might assume you are avoiding making a firm commitment. In truth, you are processing data that they cannot even track. You likely feel a surge of irritation when people demand shallow answers. To your mind, their request for simplicity feels like ignoring the truth. You might even worry that your need for detail means you are confused. This complexity is proof of a powerful and analytical mind. Consider the energy you spend translating your thoughts for others. You are acting as a human translator for your own deep processing. This precision is exhausting, but it keeps you from making errors. It allows you to see the dangers that everyone else misses. This mental intensity does not stop at observing the external world around you. It eventually turns inward and starts examining the workings of your own mind. 4. You are constantly thinking about thinking in a way others do not. In the world of cognitive psychology, this process is known as metacognitive monitoring. It essentially means your mind is operating on two distinct levels at once. While you are having a thought, another part of your brain is watching. You are not just reacting to events as they happen in real time. Instead, you are analyzing exactly why you feel or react in that way. Highly intelligent individuals possess an internal observer that never seems to take a break. This allows you to evaluate your own logic and find flaws immediately. It helps you self-correct before a mistake ever reaches the surface. Think about a time when you were lying in bed after a long day. Most people might simply replay a conversation they had earlier in the afternoon. But you are dissecting the specific mental patterns that led to your words. You find yourself questioning the very origin of your impulses and your memories. It feels like you are peer-reviewing your own consciousness every single hour. This constant state of self-auditing generates a massive amount of mental noise. Your mind is always busy observing its own internal gears and operations. As a result, it becomes incredibly difficult to just exist in the moment. You might feel like you can never truly be present during peaceful times. For you, relaxation feels like just another complex problem for you to solve. Do you ever feel like a passenger in a car driven by racing thoughts? You likely find yourself mentally drained, even when you haven't been physically active. This happens because your brain is doing double the work of a typical mind. Your brain is busy monitoring the environment outside of your body. Simultaneously, it is trying to debug its own internal software and logic. This hidden trait helps you catch mistakes before you ever make them. However, it also drains your daily emotional battery faster than you realize. You are managing a high-performance machine that never seems to idle. This heavy mental burden leads us to the final sign of high intelligence. You often find yourself shouting into a deep void about massive problems that nobody else sees yet. 5. You notice deep, underlying patterns where everyone else only sees random, disorganized chaos. This ability is much more than just having a sharp eye for detail or a strong memory. Cognitive psychology calls this systemizing, which is the intense drive to analyze and build mental systems. Your brain creates mental blueprints that allow you to navigate through highly complex environments with ease. It is naturally wired to find hidden connections between pieces of information that seem totally unrelated. While others focus on one individual tree, your mind is subconsciously mapping out the entire forest. Because of this, you aren't just making random guesses about what the future holds. You are running mental simulations based on the vast amounts of data you've already collected. Imagine noticing 3 tiny, seemingly unrelated errors in the very early stages of a group project. To your mind, those small errors aren't just accidents. They represent a broken link in the chain. They are the clear, logical beginning of a massive collapse that hasn't happened yet. This allows you to predict a major failure weeks before the disaster actually strikes. The heavy cost of this foresight is a unique kind of social frustration and deep isolation. You often end up feeling like Cassandra from Greek myth, seeing the truth but being ignored. It hurts when you try to share your insights, only to be constantly dismissed by others. People may even label you as a pessimist for simply pointing out these logical flaws. It is genuinely exhausting to watch a slow-motion crash that everyone else denies is happening. Think about how many times you have warned someone only to be told you're overreacting. When the problem eventually explodes, you don't even feel the satisfaction of being right. Instead, you just feel a deep sense of weariness from knowing exactly what was coming. This pattern recognition is a sign of high intelligence, though it requires resilience to manage. However, it requires extreme emotional resilience to manage the social distance it creates. Being smarter than you realize means navigating the world with extra mental weight every day. Ultimately, the truth is that your unique mind is a powerful tool designed for big things. It simply requires a little more patience and the right environment to truly thrive.